Welcome to another episode of Game Time, presented this week by New Senda Credit Union. I'm JP Murrieta, and this week we're at Menaul School, home of the Panthers and their football team, and head coach Josh Baka. Thanks for joining us this week.
Thank you, sir. Good to be here.
Let's dive right into it. You guys are on a 4-game win streak, coming off a win over Alamo Navajo. 3 of your last 4 games, though, have been shutouts. What impresses you most about the way this team is playing right now?
The defense just plays with a lot of heart. We have 13 boys. All of them get out on the field every game. Multiple snaps, working hard every single play. We come practice every morning at 7 in the morning, so they get here before school, and then we practice again after school. So we're just working hard every day, and these boys are here every day pushing through injuries, pushing through sickness, illness, all that stuff. So,
how does this year's Menaul squad rank and size up against some of the other Menaul football teams that have come through the years?
Well, this is my 8th year coaching now. We're right at the top with the quality of our program that we have here right now. We ended up winning district last year, and all things considered, I think we're a little bit better this year than we were last year. So I'm really looking forward to Friday night to play Legacy again.
We'll get to that Legacy game in just a moment. But for those who aren't familiar with 8-man football, what's the biggest difference between 8-man football and a typical and traditional 11-man scheme, other than the 3 other players?
Yeah, really the biggest difference I say would be on defense. On defense, you can't really do stuff to hide coverages and get all these special blitz packages and all that. On offense, it's still pretty similar. I mean, you're down a couple of tackles and either a tight end or a fullback or something, you know, but really, in general, 8-man football is not terribly different than 11-man football.
Well, you've played football here at Menaul. Now you're coaching. What does it mean to you to take over a program at a school that you played for?
It feels great. I mean, I looked forward to doing this for a long time. After I graduated, went to the military, went to college and everything, and I was like, you know what, I need to give back to the school. The football team here did a lot for me when I was going to school, and so I wanted to come give back and help these boys become men. And I know it's just been a really good experience for me these past 8 years. So.
Well, you played for Menaul when they played in the championship game in 1999. Menaul won it all in 91 and 1959, if I'm not mistaken. Where does football fit in with the history of Menaul School and the legacy here with the program and how long the school has been here?
Football has been a huge part of the school, for the last 80 years or so. And there was kind of a little time where it kind of died down a little bit, and even now basketball's taken over a little bit of the school. We get a lot of great international kids. We won a state championship a couple years ago in basketball. But I mean, these boys are doing a great job bringing the Menaul legacy back to football, and they are just really working hard, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
You mentioned the word legacy. Now let's dive in. You have a big game this week against Legacy Academy. How do you match up with the Silverbacks? And they're a new program. What kind of rivalry are you starting with them?
Well, we played them at the end of the season last year. It was a great game. Stands were packed. Came down to the last minute. We were able to hold them off from scoring. And so we were able to win the district championship last year. This year, I think they're even better than they were last year. The coaching staff, excellent. They do great scouting reports. Their team is really good as well, and they have 37 guys to go up against our 13. But I'm confident that these 13 boys behind me can withstand anything they throw at us.
So, what's going to be the key to that game, pulling out a victory?
The key to the game really is just going to be whether or not we can maintain our rhythm the entire game. It's really tough, going 4 quarters, which I anticipate going 4 quarters with these guys, hitting, going hard. And the toughest part is going to be whether or not our boys can maintain the discipline as we get into the later parts of the game.
And lastly, the seeding and selection show for 6-man and 8-man football will be this weekend, Saturday night. Where do you expect Menaul to be, and how do you size up your classification?
Our classification is great. Melrose, Fort Sumner are kind of leading the pack, kind of as usual. But depending on how it goes this Friday, we anticipate us getting a pretty good seed in the tournament and possibly playing a home game. next weekend.
All right, well, good luck this weekend, and I'm sure we'll be talking in the postseason.
Great, thank you very much.
Stick around for more Game Time after this. Are you living the life of an athlete? The New Mexico Activities Association brings you Life of an Athlete, a resource for students, educators, and parents to understand the challenges students face. Athletes, one night of drinking will negatively affect your athletic performance for 2 weeks, and athletes who drink or do drugs are twice as likely to get injured. Alcohol's effects can reduce a high school athlete's potential by as much as 20 to 30%. Are you living the life of an athlete? Log on to the website to find out today.
In life, things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
Hi, I'm Taylor Lucero from Menaul School, and welcome back to Game Time.
Welcome back to Game Time, presented this week by Nusenda Credit Union. The 6-man and 8-man football seating and selection show will take place this Saturday night. You can watch the show streamed live on our website at approximately 7:30. To watch the show, go to the homepage of our website, nmact.org, scroll down just a little bit, and voila, the show will be streamed in the viewing box marked Game Time. But before we get to that, let's take a look back at last week in high school football. The game of the week was Artesia at Roswell. In front of a packed house, the home team delivered with a 29-8 win over the Bulldogs. Roswell's defense held Artesia's offense without a score. Roswell is undefeated and will host Mayfield this week. Top-ranked Cleveland continues to roll. The Storm beat Atrisco Heritage 56-6. Cleveland's offense had 7 touchdowns in the first half. The Storm have 2 games remaining in the regular season against Cibola and then Rio Rancho. Rio Rancho put up 35 points in the first quarter against Cibola and never looked back in their 48-17 win. The Rams are now 6-2 on the year with a date against Volcano Vista on the calendar for Friday. Sandy is now 7-1 on the year. The Matadors jumped out to a 27-6 lead and held on to beat Farmington last week 35-28. The Matadors have a big showdown with the La Cueva Bears this week. Legacy Academy is on a 6-game win streak. The Silverbacks took down Cuesta 46-30 to improve to 6-1 on the season. They take on Menaul this week. The Los Lunas Tigers have scored 40 or more points in each of their 7 wins this year. Last week was no different. The Tigers scored 29 points in the first quarter and took down Santa Fe 57-6. Los Lunas has a bye this week before wrapping up the regular season at Clovis. Portales remains perfect 8 games into the season. The Rams posted their 5th shutout of the year, 54-0 over Albuquerque Academy. Portales is at Bernalillo on Friday. St. Michael's with some drama last week against Raton. They scored the go-ahead touchdown with 2.5 minutes left in the game. Reed base to Soren Annan as the Horsemen beat Raton 27-24. St. Michael's is 6-2 overall. Las Cruces cruised past Oregon Mountain 42-0. The Bulldogs put up 35 points in the first half against the Knights to make it 4 straight wins. They'll go for 5 in a row this week as they host Carlsbad. Goddard opened up their district slate with a win against Mayfield 27-13. The Rockets are 6-2. Down south, Hobbs senior Saul Armendariz broke a school record after rushing for 347 yards against Alamogordo. He had 3 touchdowns in their 56-19 win over the Tigers. Armendariz averaged almost 20 yards a carry. Lovington's DeMarcus Thompson caught 11 passes for 238 yards and 5 touchdowns against Bernalillo as the Wildcats took down the Spartans 47-26. Those are both school records for touchdown catches in a game and receiving yards in a game. He also recorded 2 sacks on the night. Quarterback Wyatt Gomez threw for 463 yards and 6 scores as the Wildcats racked up 563 yards of offense. Lovington is at Albuquerque Academy this week for a rare Friday afternoon game.
Hi, my name is Luke Boatman from Menaul School. Check out the new football polls.
Antonio Benavides from Menaul School, and we'll have more game time after this.
Do you love sports? Do you want a front row seat for exciting high school sports action in New Mexico? If the answer is yes to either of those questions, then becoming an interscholastic sports official may be right for you. The New Mexico Officials Association is looking for individuals age 15 years or older to serve as officials in 10 different sports. No experience is necessary and training is provided. If you're interested, call 505-923-3110. That's 505-923-3110, or go to the website nmact.org and click on the Officials tab.
Welcome back to Game Time from Menaul School this week. There's a lot of buzz around the Hobbs boys soccer team this year. They're #1 in the state, unbeaten, and nationally ranked in the top 55 teams in the country. I recently had a chance to talk with new head coach Reyes Marquez and size up this season. Your program is undefeated, a perfect 17-0, nationally ranked. Are they playing their best soccer right now?
You know what? We're getting there. We're getting there. You know, we're still trying to fix some small little things that we've noticed throughout the games. You know, we've introduced a new left and right back that we're kind of playing with a little more ball control. The other two guys are just amazing, and so we're just kind of, you know, getting a feel for, hey, what's going to give us a little more firepower going forward.
How much do you and the players talk about that national ranking?
You know, we don't give it a whole lot of thought, to be honest with you. It's one of the things that, you know, I think it may come out in the newspaper, it may come out on Facebook, but for the most part, we just, you know, we talk about, and not to sound arrogant, but one of the things we discussed when I first came over, I said, you know, get used to that kind of atmosphere, you know, because that is the expectation. The expectation is to be at that top level, right? And making sure that we compete with whomever it is in the state. And you know as well as I do, up north, I mean, you've got some very gifted athletes up there. But we've always said over the years, you know, look a little to the southeast. I promise you, we've got a plethora of athletes down here that can go toe to toe.
Well, one of your athletes, Josh Chavez, one of the top 5 scorers in the state, what does he do well, and who has been complimenting him well?
You know, he's an unbelievable young man, one of the nicest human beings. And you know what? The kid comes in with a great work ethic. His leadership on the field is unbelievable. You know, and just to add to it, initially when I came in, last year he played in a one-striker system. And so he was the only striker over the top. And I thought, that's not the system I play. I tend to look at, you know, what do we have in reserve? What do we have on the bench? What does it look like? And all of a sudden we're looking at several athletes that can play over the top. And so it took him a little while to kind of get going, you know, and he found himself on the bench a couple of times. And you know, instead of throwing temper tantrums, instead of getting frustrated like many do, he went right back to work. And from there, we benefited because now he's distributing the ball. He's able to complement well, like you say, with Ferrufino. You know, Franklin, unbelievable up there. And then it just depends on what the game is giving us. So we can go everywhere from, you know, Camacho over the top, Juan Camacho, or we can go with Amari, you know, Patton. And it just depends on what the game calls for. And so those are the changes that we're doing. But, you know, Ferrufino and Josh, unbelievable, both of those individuals.
You led Lovington to their first ever boys state soccer championship last year. Why leave Lovington for this job?
You know, I was actually thinking about retiring, to be honest with you. That was the plan. I wanted to chase my daughter around. My son graduating, going off to Oklahoma State. I thought, you know, this is the right move for me. This is the right move. It's time for her. It's time for her. And lo and behold, you know, administrators call from Hobbs, and man, I am tickled pink. I'll tell you what, the support that we get here, it's unbelievable. Some of the programs, I mean, and the culture, it's a different culture. You know what? Not that I didn't enjoy where I was, I did, but now I'm renewed and I'm really enjoying myself. So, you know, some of the things that I stepped into when I came in was, you know, they're pushing real hard the gold standard, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, this is good, you know, because we want the character of the young men to be, you know, first and foremost, we want to make sure that they're accountable, right? And so we want to raise up to that level. Another one tonight, for example, we're going to go support our Eagles supporting Eagles, and it is the girls volleyball program. And so, all of our boys will be up there in the stands. If you've seen any of, a lot of people saw the Instagram shared from Hobbs when we played against La Cueva. And man, we had basketball there. You had football there. You had girls, but you've got everyone coming out. And they really take it to heart when they say, hey, Eagles are going to support Eagles. They do it right.
You've only given up 14 goals in 17 games, and your team has scored 63. Is this an offensive team or a defensive squad?
It's real deceiving. There are times in the game, to be honest with you, where it may take us 20 or 30 minutes to go find a goal in the first half, and so our defense does a great job of holding everybody out and saying, "Hey, be patient, offense. It's going to come around." And once it does, it's like a dam breaking. It just, and that's one of the things that I've always tried to do is introduce as many strikers as we can if we've got them right in the stable, and we do. And so, hey, let's go to work. And so we tend to do that quite a bit.
Speaking of going to work, how do you keep your team focused during this stretch run in the season?
It is difficult. One of the things we're going to introduce is, we go from playing 3 games a week, 3 or 4 games. I mean, it was unbelievable, our schedule. And it's a schedule that we embraced because you've got to chase the best. You've got to go out and you've got to put in the work early on and prove yourself. And you know what? Part of that was the bus rides. Part of that is playing on different surfaces, right? And so at this point, one of the things we're doing is once a week, we will go inter squad and it'll be intense. And so hopefully, they and it's no nonsense. When we go inter squad, it's very competitive, and they push each other to, become better. And so that's, I think, the recipe, that we've really put into play.
And lastly, how do you size up this team's chances of winning it all this year?
Oh my goodness, it could be special. We feel real good about where we're sitting right now. We still have some work to do. Some work to do, right? And depending on who comes, if we're still deserving at when the seeding comes out, we're still deserving of a number 1 seed. We'll see who we draw out, and then the work starts, right? Making sure, hey, did we break them down correctly? How can we expose someone? How can we put our game plan into play and make sure that it works out for us? But we feel good about it right now.
The Hobbs boys soccer team won it all in 1997. It's their only state championship in boys soccer. That's going to do it for another episode of Game Time, presented this week by Nusenda Credit Union. Make sure you tune in next week because, believe it or not, it will be our 100th episode of Game Time. Where are we going to be? You're going to have to tune in to find out. The place to find the most high school highlights is right here. We'll see you next time on Game Time.